Dimitry Bivol is a master Soviet-style boxer who's been schooling everybody he's fought. He's made some of the best and scariest boxers in the world like Bivols and Canelo Alvarez look basic. But how exactly does he do it? Well, in this video, I'm gonna break down his 4 best strengths that allow him to school everybody. But since no fighter is perfect, I'll also break down his 2 biggest weaknesses. But stick to the end to find out what rating I would give him as a boxer between 1 and 5 stars. Let's get into it. We're gonna start off by going over his 4 biggest strengths. This first one is the fundamental key to his unique Soviet style. What I'm referring to is his footwork. I say this for a few reasons. The first reason is because he is amazing at maintaining distance with it. You see, Dimitri is an outside boxer who likes to stay at long range. For those who don't know, long range is the distance where only straight punches are effective. So to stay at this range, footwork is crucial. You literally can't stay at long range without it. A great footwork tactic he uses to help maintain the distance is lateral movement. Lateral movement is essential to his style, especially when he's going against aggressive, come forward, pressure type boxers like Canelo Alvarez or Bivols. The reason lateral movement is so essential when fighting these type of boxers is because it makes it extremely difficult for them to initiate and land the clean, effective offense they really want to hit you with. Lateral movement also provides an opportunity for you to initiate sneaky offense by setting up your opponent with what are called lateral traps. For those who don't know, lateral traps are simply when you're moving side to side and then suddenly stop and quickly attack your opponent before he's ready and able to set his feet. Along with that lateral movement, Dimitry is great at utilizing disengagement traps. For those who don't know, disengagement traps are when you exit an exchange and quickly attack again after 1 or 2 steps. This usually catches the opponent off guard because they're expecting you to keep moving instead of suddenly attacking again. Disengagement traps also go hand in hand with this other footwork tactic he's extremely good at utilizing. What I'm referring to is his mean step back game. Dimitry Bivol is great at using his footwork to step back to make his opponent miss. But what really separates his step back game is by how he's always looking to throw counter punches with his step backs. Best believe if Dimitry Bivol hits you with a step back and he's close enough to counter, you damn sure getting hit with one. Now, there's one more footwork tactic I noticed Dimitry Bivol utilizes that is extremely underutilized by most fighters today. What I'm referring to is he uses it to minimize his time on the ropes. You see, many fighters have a bad habit of staying on the ropes, but not Bivol. If you watch him fight, you can see he's always using his footwork to try and circle to the center of the ring if he's not there already. So those are the 5 best ways Dimitry Bivol utilizes his footwork. But the second strength I'm gonna get into is also the other half of why his distance control is so elite alongside with his footwork. What I'm referring to is his highly skilled use of his lead hand. You see, Dimitry Bivol has the best lead hand in boxing. Let me tell you why. The first reason is because he simply keeps his lead hand extremely active. He's always doing something with it, whether it's feinting, probing, or punching. This is an extremely underrated, undertaught skill because it forces your opponent to have to stop and think and or react to something, which helps in mentally fatiguing them quicker. It makes them more hesitant and it overall just slows them down. But you can't just do the same thing over and over with your lead hand, make you pay for it. So you gotta mix it up and keep them guessing, which is what Dimitry Bivol is the best at. You see, he has an amazing jab, so he throws it often. But he doesn't always throw the same jab. Sometimes he steps in with his feet to throw a hard power jab. Sometimes he doesn't step at all and just throws a quick snappy jab. Sometimes he throws a non-committal jab to bait out your counter so he can then counter it. And sometimes he simply just probes with his jab to control space and occupy your guard. This makes it extremely difficult to time him and set up your own attacks because you just don't know what he's gonna throw at you. And that's just all jabs. I haven't even mentioned any other punch yet. He then sometimes mixes in these long Soviet style / Cuban style hooks with the jab. He usually does that when he's throwing combinations though, which I'll dive deeper in a few. But all that lead hand activity makes it extremely difficult to close the distance and touch him. Then when you finally do see an opportunity to attack, he has an amazing check hook to counter you and help defend your attack, which for those of you who don't know, a check hook is when you simply throw a hook while simultaneously stepping your lead foot to the side or just pivoting off of it to get out the way and create a new angle your opponent has to adjust to. Speaking of defensive punches like the check hook, another extremely underrated part of Bivol's game is his ability to punch while going backwards. He is amazing at stepping backwards while simultaneously throwing defensive jabs and hooks. If you watch him fight, it's usually how he ends most of his combinations. I could only imagine how frustrating it is to try and fight this dude. So that active effective lead hand goes hand in hand with his footwork to make his style so effective, because this third strength I'm about to get into would not be nowhere near as effective if it wasn't for that elite lead hand and footwork. What I'm referring to is Dimitry Bivol's mastery of 3 simple punches. If you watch him fight, you'll notice Dimitry Bivol only throws 3 punches, which is the jab, also known as the 1, the cross, also known as the 2, and the lead hook, also known as the 3. Out of all the fights I've watched from Bivol, I can count on one hand how many times I've seen him throw an uppercut. And when it comes to rear hooks, he definitely throws those more than uppercuts, but nowhere near as much as he uses the 1, 2, and 3. And when it comes to like overhands, I've never seen him throw an overhand. Let me know if you have. It's so cool to see this though, because it proves you don't need all that flashy advanced technique to be effective as a high level boxer. Dimitry Bivol is walking proof that all you need to do is get really good at the basics and you'll be effective at the highest levels. Just like with the use of his lead hand, Dimitry Bivol mixes up these 3 punches extremely well. He'll sometimes throw all 3 to the head in combination. He'll sometimes throw one of them to the body and the other 2 to the head. Or sometimes he'll throw 2 of them to the body and 1 of them to the head. This keeps his opponent guessing and where to defend, which helps in landing more. I also noticed he does an amazing job at attacking the body with long stab jabs and straight crosses. I think his most effective combination is when he throws the 1 to the head to occupy the guard and lift it up, and then throws the 2 down low to the body, which usually lands clean since the guard is lifted from the 1. Sometimes he mixes in a 3 up top after the 2 down low, but sometimes he simply just takes that 2 down low and gets out the way to reset the position and win the exchange cleanly. When he wants to be aggressive and throw combinations, that 1-2-1 and that 1-2-3 is literally all he throws. He just mixes up how and where he throws them. Now this fourth and final strength I'm gonna go over is a small detail that you don't really notice unless you're a nerd of the sweet science like me. What I'm referring to is his perfect punching technique. There's 2 details I'm really referring to when I say punching technique. The first one is the fact that he does not overreach or overextend himself when he punches. This is an extremely dangerous mistake many fighters make, because when you overreach, you're usually off balance and heavily exposed for counter punches. Instead of overreaching to close the distance and touch your opponent, it's best to simply use footwork and step in with the punch. This way, since you're not overreaching, you're in the best position to execute your defensive responsibilities during and after the punch. And you're also maintaining your balance at all times, which is crucial to not get knocked down and take any incoming punches as best as you can. The other detail Bivol executes extremely well with his punching technique is the fact that he is extremely disciplined at keeping his backhand glued to his eyebrows when he's not punching with it. Dropping your backhand is another extremely dangerous mistake many fighters make, because this is how you get countered and knocked out. Most people especially drop their backhand when they're punching with their lead hand, which is why it's easier for them to get countered in between punches. But not Bivol. If you watch him fight, you can see he keeps that backhand glued to his eyebrows when he is throwing his lead hand. If you're a nerd of the sweet science, you can agree when I say it is very beautiful to watch when these small details are executed so perfectly. So those are Bivol's 4 biggest strengths. Let me know in the comments if you would add any other strengths over these 4. I just only picked the 4 biggest ones that stood out to me. But like I said earlier, no fighter is perfect. So let's get into his 2 biggest weaknesses. The biggest weakness Dimitry Bivol possesses is the fact that he has 0 inside fighting game. If you watch his fights, you can see whenever his opponents are finally able to close the distance and get past his jab, where only hooks and uppercuts are effective, Bivol never engages in this close distance. He simply shows up with a high guard and uses his footwork to try and get out the way and reset. Even though his opponents are only able to get inside the very small few times he's on the ropes, it's the main thing that truly holds him back from being a true complete boxer. What makes it even worse is that normally when a fighter lacks an inside game, he's usually very good at clinching to help keep himself safe until the referee resets them. A great example of this is Devin Haney. People always complain Devin Haney clinches a lot, but that's because he has no inside game. It's a smart tactic because it helps keep you safe and forces the referee to reset you guys. But Bivol rarely ever clinches in his fights, nowhere near as much as he should for a boxer who lacks an inside game as much as he does. This is great for the fans because they hate clinching, but this is very dangerous for Bivol because it gives his opponents more opportunities to hit him. So that's Bivol's main weakness. Now the second weakness isn't as bad, to be honest. You see, Bivol is not a big puncher. He barely gets stoppages advantages. As of the time of me recording this video, Bivol has 25 fights and only 12 knockouts. But the thing is, it took him 6 years to go from 11 knockouts to 12 knockouts. So that shows he's not the biggest puncher in the world. I think the main reason he lacks so much power is because of the nature of his fighting style. You see, to maximize power, you need to really sit down on your punches. But Bivol's Soviet style is literally the complete opposite of sitting down on your punches. He is always extremely light and bouncy on his feet, even when he's throwing punches, which sacrifices a lot of power in exchange for movement and speed. But to be honest, that lack of power isn't that big of a deal in his case, because he is so skilled enough to be extremely dominant and school everybody without it. But along with that lack of inside game, it contributes in holding him back from being a truly complete fighter. So those are the main strengths and weaknesses of Dimitry Bivol as a fighter. Let me know in the comments if you agree with those weaknesses. Let me know if there's other weaknesses you've seen in his game that you'd put over those. Now, it's time for me to give him a rating between 1 and 5 stars. I think Dimitry Bivol is the best pure outside boxer in the world. When it's all said and done, I think he'll have a great argument as being the best outside boxer of all time. But if I had to rate him between 1 and 5 stars as an overall boxer, I would rate Dimitry Bivol a 4-star fighter. The reason for this is simple. His skills are extremely elite. No one has been able to neutralize him. And the one loss he has against Bivols, he avenged it in the rematch. And even that loss, most people, including myself, thought he won that fight. The only thing that holds him back from being a 5-star fighter is those 2 weaknesses I listed. The lack of inside game takes away half a star, and the lack of power takes another half a star, which leaves 4-star rating for Dimitry. In my eyes, 5-star ratings are reserved for those fighters who are truly skilled and excel in all aspects of boxing. Let me know what you would rate Dimitry Bivol in the comments.